Less stress, more time, more money. Welcome to the Cash Flow Contractor, short with Khalil bin Ali Haj.
What's up, cash flow contractors? Khalil here with another short today talking about prospecting tactics so that you can find less stress, more time, and more money. In our last short that I did with you guys, we talked about prospecting principles, and principles are different than tactics. Principles allow you to do things consistently. They're tried and true methods that you should always hold on to. Your tactics will change based on your situation, based on what your strengths are, based on what your needs are, and based on what you want to do as far as prospecting goes. I want to break the tactics down into three areas. So we have thousands and thousands of different tactics, but they usually fall within these three different areas, these three categories. Those three categories are job sourcing, networking, and cold outreach. So I'm going to give you an example for each one. With job sourcing, what we're looking for is to source jobs that then allows us to build relationships with the GCs who are posting those jobs. So you're probably familiar with some bid boards or some job boards for contractors. I know iSquareFoot is a popular one. And this is a great opportunity for you to find jobs through one of these services. And once you have the information on those jobs, though, it's not just about getting the job and putting in downloading the files, getting your estimate together, and then giving an estimate to the GC. It's more so about, hey, I'm going to give an estimate for this job, but how can I build a relationship with this GC who has jobs? So trying to build that relationship through reaching out to them before you submit your estimate, then after you submit your estimate. If you didn't get the job, figuring out, hey, is there another job that you got coming up? If you don't mind telling me what happened on that job that I didn't get it. Was I not thorough enough? Did I not have enough information on there? Was I low? Was I high? And figuring out what was the best bid for that job and why did it win. Do those things, but also don't just think right in the moment of right after that job. After you've bid that job, you should be reaching out every month, every 3 months, whatever it is. Set up a schedule for yourself to get back in touch with that GC and be proactive. That's one of the best ways to prospect. It doesn't have to be someone who you've never had contact with. It's still, that GC is still a prospect. So you need to stay in touch with them regularly. Use those principles with that GC that you've just built a relationship with. And if you do this over time, it's going to get to the point where you're really not going to need to prospect as much because you've built a book of business of GCs that you're going to be able to get jobs from consistently. The next thing, networking, the next area or category of tactics for prospecting. This is probably the one that's done the most frequently, but not done most effectively. So you've got associations, you've got lunches that you can go to, coffee, trade shows, or even just being on a job site with other subs and the GC. These are great opportunities to build relationships. And too many times people go to these events and they're quiet, they don't say anything, they don't know their ask. They don't go with an intention of building a relationship there. And it's not always about getting what you want. We talked about this in the principles, it's about being helpful. So try to sign up join the association, right? Try to schedule lunches with people that are at the association with you. Go to the trade shows, try to meet people, mingle, and get yourself out there. If you're not good at this, if you're not outgoing, if you're introverted, you're probably not going to excel at this one. And so this shouldn't be a tactic for you. But if you're not super organized and you're not someone that's going to be on a schedule calling people all the time, and but you are extrovert and you're outgoing, this is a great one where you can just have that person in your phone, try to schedule the lunches, and then it's on the calendar for you. And that's a great opportunity for you to do your prospecting with people at this point, because there's other subs who, if they know you, they're going to refer you to the GC that they work with on the other job. And if there's the GC there and you're proactively trying to get lunch or seeing them at the association and meetings and always talking to them, they're going to remember you, right? So that's another form of prospecting. The next tactic area is cold outreach. And this is probably what most people think of when they think of prospecting. They think of picking up the phone, dialing, and just trying to get in touch with somebody. And this does take practice. It's a great experience for you, even if you are introverted, because it teaches you how to sell yourself. It teaches you how to really speak and communicate clearly with your GCs, with people that you need to be connecting with. And your sales is so important for everybody, and I think everybody should do it because it really teaches you so much. So some of the things that you can do underneath cold outreach. Every city has a municipality that has permits that GCs and subs even have to pull. Go every month, every week, and download that list. I think you have to pay for it at most municipalities, but download the list of permits that have been pulled. And then it'll have the contact information of the contractors that have pulled those permits. Start to call those people and ask about the job they're working on. Ask about the jobs they have coming up. Ask if they can connect for lunch. If you can bid on their next job. That's a great way to start finding people that are active, people that have work, and getting in front of the right people that you actually want to talk to that have work, not the ones that don't have work. Another thing that you can do is LinkedIn. It's a great tool for meeting GCs, for meeting big companies that have jobs, and it's a different approach. It's a whole different strategy that we can have a whole other deep dive on LinkedIn strategies for prospecting. But there's a tool called Sales Navigator that it really allows you to go and message people, find people that you can search, project managers of GCs, and you want them to be only in a specific city like Denver, and it's going to pull up all the project managers, and then you can you can start messaging them immediately. That's a great tool for a lot of subcontractors to be able to get in front of people that can give them an opportunity to get in with a GC. Another one is email. That's probably very common, that you just send out emails. That's a whole nother strategy where you've got to have a really clear email that's personalized and that has an ask. But an email strategy is really great. And if you don't have people's emails, if you know the company name, if you're using Gmail, this is a really good tactic for finding people's email addresses. You can, let's say it's Billy Bob Construction is the domain, billybobconstruction.com. What you'll do is, if you know the person's name that you're trying to get a hold of, but you don't have their email, you can try some different combos of their email address at their name. So if you go into Gmail and you type in the address bar and you say, I want to get in touch with John Smith at billybobconstruction.com, what you're going to do is you're going to type in John at billybobconstruction.com, see if it pulls up. It might show their photo. And if that's so, that's their email. So now you have their email. If not, you're going to try J. Smith, J.Smith. You might try John Smith at, and you'll just keep trying all the different variations of that email address until you find one that it looks like, oh, wow, that's their email. And then you can send out your emails. So that's a good way of finding contacts, email addresses for you to do some prospecting. So of these three categories of tactics, we've got job sourcing, we've got networking, we've got cold outreach. These are just some basic areas, and you need to find what tactics fit your strengths, your personality. If it's a weakness for you, you can try to get better at it, but you're probably better suited just going after your strengths. Build off of your strengths, and then whenever you hire someone that's going to do prospecting for you, look for people that don't have your strengths, that have your weaknesses, that they can fill in those gaps for you, and they can do a better job than you'll do. So these are some prospecting tactics. There's so many different ones out there. If you have a specific one that you'd like to know more about, if you're like, man, that LinkedIn one sounds interesting, I'd like to know more, go ahead and send us an email, and I will do a deep dive or a webinar on using LinkedIn or whatever method you are interested in, and showing you exactly how to do it. But thanks for listening to the Prospecting Tactics with the Cashflow Contractor. I hope it helps you find less stress, more time, and more money. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Cashflow Contractor. Check out our website in the show notes or visit thecashflowcontractor.com.